What's up, everybody, and welcome to Narco Cop MMA. This is the Lambo Plays Podcast, episode 118, UFC Vegas 101, first one of 2025. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Timothy Troiano. We do have a special guest this week, first time, great guy, great capper, and actually a professional fighter, too. Timothy, how was your break? What'd you do? Anything good?
Just spent some time with some family. It was really good. Enjoyed the break. Good to refresh. Excited to chop this card up with you guys. This glorified Dana White Contender Series card with some old dudes. So yeah, I'm excited to get some violence back in our lives.
I don't know. I think it's actually a pretty good card, man. I don't know. A lot of people are shitting on this card, but I think it's pretty good. There's some really good matchups. I think there's a lot of violence on this card. So I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? But yeah, let me not keep on rambling. Let me bring in my guest. First time on the show, Brandan Olivas. What's up, my friend? How are you doing?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. UFC Vegas 101. How do you feel about this card? From a betting
I really like it, and I don't know if that's just jitters from having so much time off or if I'm like legitimately excited for this. But man, it's good to have fights back.
Yeah, dude. Like I couldn't wait for fights. It's too long. 1 month is fucking crazy. And there really wasn't a lot of regional stuff too. So it was like weird. I don't understand one thing, why these regionals don't pick up the pace when UFC is gone for that long. Like it's so bad. That's when you can have like eyes on you, right? But I don't know.
Isn't that what Invicta always does? Or usually in the years past, they would always run their very first event like the first Wednesday of the new year or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Ryzen does it all the time, but like nobody really else. It was mostly promotions outside of the US. Anyways, let me go over to the chat really quick. MMA Propaholic, what is up, my man? Azure, how are you doing? Buster, what's up, my friend? Enforcer, Mushroom in the house, Wacky Iraqi, we are so fucking back. The Punisher, William Tyner, New Year, new cash, my friend. Brian, what is up, my friend? Craig, what's up, guys? Thank you for joining. DA07, New Year, new limitations from all the new cash. I would love that. DA07 also says, let's effing go. Jermaine, last capper I got to hear before I place these bets. Thank you for joining. Bunk Hoots, what is up, my man? Hunter Dickens, let's effing go. Blunt Force, yo, Olivas in the mix. Get Santino in here as well. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that if Santino's down to do it. You know, I don't know if Santino does prick any props. Does he, Brandan?
No, Santino just he's a good analyst, but he doesn't like really look at like gambling.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the good technical aspect of fighters, so it's good. Raw Torque, what is up? Bloom Dog, also Fight Ready. Oh, Fight Ready's in the house. Banana Split Tim. All right, 107 already in here. Let's start it off, man. We got 14 fights, 2 people that missed weight, but we will start out with the first fight of the night. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 13-5 Joe Solecki versus the 9-0 Narello Aliev. Tim, kick us off with what your Lambo play here is on the first fight of the night.
I just think the line for this fight, it's a little bit stupid for Joe Solecki's win condition, in my opinion. I think sub 1, sub 2 for him at 20-1 and 30-1 are kind of good lines. I'd rather take that than his money line, just laying and praying, trying to play guard off, play off his back and guard and just basically, throwing up subs off of his back. I think there's a potential he could catch a guillotine or something like that. He was close to getting it against Grant Dawson. So I think it's worth a shot. Aliev had a few guillotines versus Alves that were really, really close. So yeah, worth a shot, I think, at 20-1 and 30-1.
All right. Sub 1-2 on Solecki. Brandan, what do you got for us?
So,
first, Lambo play for Brandan. Kick us off, my friend.
I'm a little bit unprepared because I thought it was just like, all right, ones that we liked through the whole card. I didn't know it was every fight.
It's okay.
That's okay. I'll work on the fly. I like and I'm kind of new to this show, so is it like specific props that I might only have like
you could use any prop as long as it's plus 300 or better. Yeah, you could. Okay. It doesn't matter, round prop or whatever.
Okay, I'm actually going to look at Aliev KO TKO, and I see it more as a positional KO TKO. So also look at round 2, round 3 KO. But man, it looked like Selecki has been increasingly fragile over the years and gets tired, and then he's going to have the most dog wrestler hanging on him, punching him nonstop kind of guy that he's fought in a while. So if this is his walking papers, I could easily see him saying, "All right, I'm good off that." So I like 2-3 Aliev KO, which would be
those are huge numbers, probably.
Yeah, plus 850 for the 2-3 KO, and then plus 440 for regular for just the knockout.
I mean, his KO, his KO 2 is 1,500, his KO 3 is 2,000, which is pretty good. Man, I faded this guy against Ashmouz, believe it or not. I took Ashmouz in that fight just because I think Ashmouz works up way better. Like, I think this is a much, much better matchup for Aliev because Selecki's just going to lay on his back, dude. Like, he just doesn't attempt to get up, which is very annoying. He's going to try to probably play jiu-jitsu off his back. But Aliev is pretty heavy on top. He's competent. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's going to land takedowns. The thing is Selecki going to maybe get something early, when he's fresh, when he's not fucking tired? I think there's a chance. I mean, we saw Alves get like that guillotine. I actually saw him in another regional fight where he was in another submission. So I do think there's potential, but at 16-1, that's like, to me, it's like, why are you even going to take Selecki money line? Like, his chance is literally a submission or bust. So at 16-1, I needed to take a poke at that because I just think that's his win condition. I know his money line's around 500. You're getting like, $11 more on it. I don't mind it. It's 16-1 on Bet Rivers, I believe. I think it's a decent bet. I don't expect it to happen, to be honest. And the other thing is, this is last fight on Joe Selecki's contract. Why the hell is he taking this fight? It just doesn't make sense.
I would bet he didn't have a lot of decision making in that one.
Probably.
They kind of did a thing where, hey, you take this fight or you're going to get cut. Like, I remember they did that to.
Go ahead.
They did that to Frankie Saenz when he fought Jonathan Martinez. Same thing. You take the fight. We don't care. He missed weight or you're cut.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe sometimes they throw you a bone because Selecki's been in the UFC. Maybe they tell him, hey, take this short notice. We will give you one more fight. Who knows? Maybe not, but it's not like Selecki's some household name. He's not very exciting. So, yeah, I could see where they just forced him, hey, take this fight and you're, whether you like it or not.
Short notice against the young killer that we're building.
Yeah, it feels like a setup fight, honestly. I just think Ashmouz had way more chance than this dude does. But all right, let's move on. Fight number 2. It is in the strawweight division. It is the 8-1 Victoria Dudakova versus the 6-1 Fatima Klein. And Brandan, do you have one for this, or we can skip and then you can look for one if you want?
So I've been looking at a couple. Sorry, I'm going to get a lot closer. I'm not as big of the Lambo plays as you guys. Honestly, right. Fatima Klein at submission at plus 350 kind of insane to me, right? Especially you start looking at, Dudakova's grappling cardio is not very good. She can keep a good striking pace, but Fatima's going to be on her like crazy. And it's really hard for girls, I think, to get knockouts on each other. Just the way they're built, they don't really have, the frame and the power to actually do it. And then they don't put anything together. So the best way to get someone out of there, make a big statement in your new weight class is submission. And I don't think people realize how actually good Fatima Klein's grappling is. Like, she is top of the food chain as far as black belts. Very, very good. So submission at plus 350, that's a crazy one for me. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I keep hearing a lot of people saying this line's too wide, and I kind of get it. I mean, it's women's MMA, but like, people are putting too much stock in the fight against in her last fight for Fatima Klein. Like, she went up a weight class against a huge 25er that can grapple her ass off, that has great cardio, and it's at elevation. Like, dude, it's like a bad situation for Fatima. She just wanted to get into the UFC, and she even
it reminded me of like when Ricci came up to fight Manon Fiorot up a weight class and then went on a winning streak once who go to their normal weight class.
100%. Like, she was, you could see like the physicality, just it kind of took her over. But honestly, she didn't do that bad in the grappling against Jasmine. And Jasmine's a big girl at 25, and the major difference here is like Dudakova gas tank is not good. And when you look at the Sam Hughes fight, right, she's dead tired, but Sam Hughes is a striker, right? She's pushing you with the striking. Klein can push you with the fucking grappling and break you. And for me, I just see this girl breaking against Klein, man. Klein has an insane pace. You watch those 5-round fights, she is nonstop for 5 rounds. And this is a full camp. This is back at 115. I think she's going to break this girl, honestly. And I have a really good feeling about 2-3 on this one. Like it was 9-1, 13-1 for Klein. I think she's going to break her. It's probably submission. I won't be surprised if positional KO. She throws a lot of ground and pound in her regional tape. And I could see her breaking Dudakova just because Dudakova, the way she looked in that round 3 against Hughes, where, she was the one landing takedowns and stuff. And in this fight, and another line I will give everybody here that I played, and I wish I could lay the hammer on this, the over 1.5 takedowns on Fatima Klein is -120 on DK. That is an insane line to me. She can land any takedown that she wants on this chick. Jinyu Fry landed a takedown on this girl when she wanted it.
She's going to get at least 1 per round, too.
Oh, easily. The only thing that scares me, Brandan, of the over 1.5 is that if she takes her down in round 1 and finishes her. That's the only thing that scares me. But I do think when Dudakova's fresh, like I don't think it's going to be that easy. But man, over 1.5 -120 on the takedown prop, it's stupid. It's way off in my opinion. Anyways, yeah. So I like 2-3 here. If you want to get crazy, 2-3 KO. It's 27-1 and 37-1. I just think she breaks her, man. I really do. Tim?
Yeah, I have 3 things that I wrote down. One was Klein sub, then was round 2 and round 3. So I'm on board with you guys on this. I think it's the way it's going to happen. I think that I am afraid of the sub in round 1, to be honest. I do think that is possible. It's just the thing about it is I think that Klein might strike for a little bit longer than we would like in this situation. She's not afraid to strike, and I think that she's solid there as well. So yeah, I'm about to make a bet on the over 1.5 takedowns with you here. So let me just press send on that really quick, and we're good to go.
I mean, one other thing is I do think Fatima Klein's striking is not bad. Like she's not a one-dimensional fighter whatsoever, in my opinion. Dudakova is actually pretty good striker too. I think her jab is really good. But like I think Fatima actually throws harder of the two. I think she has more power on the feet as well. So, did you want to say anything, Brandan?
Yeah. We actually talked about that on our show. It's weird because Fatima does more of the right things and she looks to be the cleaner striker, even though Dudakova actually has cleaner, better hands. She just looks a little more awkward. But you're right. Fatima's leveled up like so much, so fast in the striking. She's really legitimately going to be a top 10, top 5 girl this year, I think.
Yeah, I kind of feel like everybody's on Dudakova, and I think it's fake value, man. I really do. Like Fatima, to me, I rate Fatima really high at 115. I think she's really, really good everywhere, and she's only going to get better. Like she's 24. So, all right, let's move on. Fight number 3. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 9-0 Magomed Gadzhisulaev versus the 13-1 Bruno Lopez. And I guess I got one here that probably not a lot of people have. I don't rate Gadzi that high. I think he's going to be faster in the striking. I think he has good kicks. But I honestly think this guy's a bit of a flake, to be honest. Like I watched some of his tape. I don't like how he runs away. I don't like how he shells up at times. He got dropped in that fight against Khalid, whatever Wasim, like 3 fights ago. He got dropped with an uppercut. And his cardio is not like the best, man. Like even round 3, Medina was coming after this guy, and Medina was a punching bag for like 2.5 rounds in that fight. Lopez, the one thing I don't like about Lopez is he leaves his head just right there, dude, like on the platter. Like hit me. He comes forward. I do think he's durable, honestly. I know Ribeiro knocked him out. I don't think his chin is very bad. I think he's tough. He took I mean, he got dropped against that guy at Dana White's Contender Series, but that was like a huge overhand that landed. He recovered right away. It's his defense. His defense is not very good. He's been hurting a lot in a lot of these fights, but he recovers. But I think this Magomed guy, man, I don't trust his cardio. He doesn't like getting pressured. The one thing that Bruno does is he's going to pressure you. He's going to be in your face. He's going to come forward. He's going to land leg kicks. That's the other thing. Ribeiro landed 3 leg kicks, and this guy's leg was toast. What did he have to do? He went to the grappling. I don't think grappling is going to be very easy for him against Bruno Lopez. Bruno Lopez has shown decent takedown defense. He has a get-up game. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I kind of feel like Lopez submission, man. I think Lopez is actually going to hit takedowns on this guy. I've seen his regional tape. He grapples a lot. He gets takedowns. He has a very good arm triangle. It's 11-1 on a sub. If Ribeiro can take you down 2 to 3 times, I'm pretty sure Lopez can take him down if he wants to. So I'm going to go with the sub at 11-1, sub 2-3, 18-1. I don't know. I like sub here. I think Lopez, I almost want to click his money line, to be honest. But I think it's a better live spot because Gadzhisulaev is going to be good like in round 1. I just think he fades. Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I posted in our Discord. I think that this fight scares me on a bunch of different levels. I think that both of these guys it's the giant douche versus turd sandwich from South Park. I just think, I think that both these guys have some holes in their game, things that are weak. And then Gadzhisulaev just seems to be going against some serious frauds if you look at who he's been fighting. And Lopez is like just, I don't know. It just seems like you said, he's very hittable, doesn't really proactively grapple in a lot of his fights. So, I mean, I just think that this fight could be like Lopez is winning on the feet and then gets taken down and held. I also didn't like what I saw of Lopez off of his back when he did get taken down. He wasn't getting up easily. So yeah, I think end split plus 550, Lopez points 650, Lopez by split 18-1. I think it should just be an ugly fight where a little bit better striking, a little bit bigger power shots from Lopez, maybe a little bit more volume and takedowns from Gadzhisulaev.
All right. Brandan, what do you got here for fight number 3?
That's super interesting. Before I started taping this week, I thought Lopez was like a slam spot. I thought there was something that I was missing here. And then I started watching, and just my issue is one is he forces a firefight every single fight. He's constantly right in the range, and he's getting hurt every fight. You said he has a good chin. I'm not so sure about that because even in his win right before Contender Series, he got dropped, once, twice, something like that coming in. The dude gets hurt every single fight, and he's fighting guys that I don't think are on Magomed's level. Not saying Magomed is like, the next champion or anything like that. Obviously, he's got his flaws too, but he is a clean striker. He is kind of a physical specimen. He's massive. And he can wrestle a little bit better than I had remembered in my mind, right? He actually scoots up to the cage, starts to go up. I don't think Magomed's going to have any success grappling here because Bruno's technical takedown defense and stand-ups are really clean. His jiu-jitsu is super nice, so I definitely can see the submission play. But I think Bruno actually is going to get tired himself, and I think we're going to end up seeing a Magomed Gadzhisulaev round 2, round 3 knockout just because of the chin and how much he forces that firefight. So that's plus 600 on FanDuel.
I like it. We have opposition here. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is Lopez looks tired, but fuck, man, he pushes such a crazy pace and he pushes through in a lot of these fights. And he's been like, if you watch that fucking Diaz one where it went 3 rounds, like he pushes a crazy pace and he's non-fucking stop. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. Gadzhisulaev maybe can just tee off on him because this guy, he's got no defense, man. That's why I didn't click him, honestly. That's literally why I didn't click him, is because the defense is just fucking not there.
His chin and his willingness to fight all the time make him such a liability.
Yeah, he's definitely a liability on the feet. All right, let's move on. Fight number 4. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 5-1-1 Ernesta Caracate versus the 8-2 Nicole Caliari. Tim, how do you always end up with these women fights?
I don't know. It's the gods are sending me some some good vibes, I guess. I love the women's MMA. Bring it to me. I mean, this is I just like want to flip a coin on this one for which I have like two on both sides, and I really could see them both happening. I just think that this is Ernesta has got major huge metrics on this fight, advantages in this fight. She's taller, she's longer. Her cardio is very, very, very good. And I think that she's got like insane volume, except for the beginning of the last fight where we were all screaming at the TV, like, what happened to your fucking volume? But every other fight, she's throwing just hella volume. So I think that, that usually in women's MMA, if you have really good cardio and you throw just a shit ton of strikes, that's like solid to be able to bank on that from a betting perspective. On the other side, you have Caliari, who is, going to be shorter, way shorter and shorter reach. Seems to slow down in fights. I know that she won her Dana White Contender Series fight, but the fact that she got taken down by that girl and then like got the sub off of her back in that situation was not necessarily great. Obviously, I think that girl, the fighter that she was fighting against too, was extremely low level. So I think that the cardio edge is huge here for Ernesta, but the grappling edge and the grappling on Ernesta is the big question mark for me. So I mean, I don't know. You tell me, heads or tails on this one, man. I'll just you call it heads or tails, Brandon.
Tails.
Tails. All right. So we're gonna go with Ernesta KO2, KO3. For the record here, I had the sub 1-2 for Caliari, but I'll go with Brandon's on the tails call here. I think both are live.
All right, Brandan, what do you got here for this women's fight?
This one is extremely tough for me. I don't even really want much to do with this one. I know a lot of people are on Karatakate. It's like a pretty simple formula. There's a lot of stuff I don't like about Caliari. Kind of the weird fights, like going to the guard and finishing armbar off the back. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff. Her arms look way bigger than they should be. Whatever steroids she's been taking, she overdosed a little bit. She was a lot cleaner fighter when she was a little skinnier. I think Karakataki is going to win. I just don't know if she's going to have that kill mode to actually get her out of there, right? So I think the smart play obviously would be Karakataki points, but I think I'll go down the exact same path as Tim. That round 2, round 3 KO. Just if Caliari has to fight, if she's making constant bad decisions like jumping guard and playing off her back and having to work up, I think that's all going to weigh down on her. And then you're going to have that volume and just like even just being your UFC debut and the debut jitters, I think that's going to be a big adrenaline dump too. So I like Karakataki 2-3 KO plus 800 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I guess we're all on the 2-3. I wanted to play Caliari because I do think she's got some physicality to her ever since like she's put on this massive size that she's put on. But man, she's so fucking sloppy with the striking. Like you mentioned too, it's like most of her subs are like off bottom, arm bars, stuff like that. So my concern is like if Karakate, I do think Caliari gets her down. Don't get me wrong. I just think like Karakate's probably going to work back up. Like she did a really good job against Barbosa, who's probably more physical, I would say, and is a bigger girl.
She's a lot cleaner, her technique in jiu-jitsu and judo.
Yeah, and you would know that. I mean, more than I would. But it just feels like Karakate is going to work back up. And if that happens and she puts on, the pace that she normally does, then she possibly can get this Caliari girl out of there. And if you look back, like Caliari has not been 3 rounds for fucking 8 years. Like this girl's not been 3 rounds. All of her fights are round 1, round 2, round 1, round 2. She's never been 3 rounds. And I think, she can break her. I just didn't play the KO. I played just a regular round props just in case. I was afraid maybe she can, if this girl's really tired, she can sneak something in and then you get punished because you just played the KO. 2-3, it's 1,100 and 1,400. I think they're okay lines. They're not the best. It's WMA. I don't really expect a high probability of a finish, but I don't know, man. Caliari's never been 3 rounds in a long fucking time. And she's going up against a girl that has really good cardio in Karakate. So
Yeah, switch mine to round 2-3 as well, because they're the same lines on FanDuel. I didn't know that there is.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're gonna get punished if you get
that.
KO, and then she might get some kind of. I don't think she gets a sub, but you never know.
She very well could. You get a tired person, anybody can sub you.
Yeah, so you know that, right? Ben? Like if you're that tired, like you just can't defend anymore. Like Vieira wasn't supposed to get subbed by Fluffy, but guess what? He was that tired.
Yeah, round 2-3 is way better.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 11-5 Preston Parsons versus the late replacement, the 9-0 Jacoby Smith. Brandan, this one's yours.
All right, so I'll lead this off. I like Jacoby Smith. I talked about it on my podcast. It sure seems like he is going to be kind of the next superstar. Like it seems like there's a couple guys. Who's the Mansher? What's his name?
Who? Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Abdul Malik. Him, Jacoby Smith. These guys seem like they're the guys that are special and that the UFC is really, really going to try hard to push. I don't really see this matchup as much different. But you have Preston Parsons, a guy who has always shown to be super, super game. He hangs there in the pocket. He's super tough. He can wrestle. He makes every right decision. His cardio, I can't really tell kind of where his cardio is quite yet, because he has shown in fights where he misses takedowns. He gets super tired, but then he's shown fights where he looks like the Terminator. I think Jacoby is good. I think in the first round, he's going to destroy him. Similar to like a Bulgarian when he fought, C-Rod or something like that. Just come out cruising. But round 2, 7 minutes in, to the fight, I think we're going to see a big shift there where Preston might take over. Just silly, stupid volume, pressing him nonstop, and maybe even just not dying. So it's hard to see Preston Parsons, if he's alive after the first round, not looking like a solid bet. So I got Preston Parsons by points plus 800.
Oh, baby. The first big dog of the night. Yeah, I mean Preston Parsons is game, man. He is game. He can wrestle himself. He's not a bad wrestler. I mean the levels of wrestling is obviously different here. Like Jacoby Smith is much better wrestler, but I just don't think like Parsons is gonna try to work back up. He's gonna always try to work back up. He's got decent jiu-jitsu. He's gonna scramble. You could see the one fight that I saw adversity a little bit for Jacoby Smith was the Le'Veon Lewis fight, right? Lewis was kind of defending takedowns. He was making him work. And honestly, he did look a little bit tired in round 3. Like he was tired from grappling, and Le'Veon Lewis making him work. I could see a scenario where Preston Parsons does the same here. He makes him work. The guy's a veteran now of the UFC. He's 3 or 4 fights in the UFC, maybe more even. How many fights does he have? Oh, he's got more, actually. This fight number 6 in the UFC. So we've seen the back and forth. I mean, yeah, the Elder one, Elder was late replacement and up a weight class, but there was a lot of grappling in that fight, back and forth. Trevin Giles, same thing. A lot of back and forth grappling in that fight. I do think Smith wins just because of how, this guy is just fucking a physical specimen, man. He's just so strong. I think his cardio is definitely, and one thing you didn't mention, Brandan, the late notice, man. Like this is a very, very late notice fight for him. So we don't know how much weight this guy cuts. He is a physical specimen. He's big. So it's a short notice. He's probably cutting a decent amount of weight, I would think. That could come into play here. I do think he's going to win rounds 1 and 2. And then he might have to survive round 3 if Parsons is still half alive. I'm taking the decision here. It's not a Lambo bet. It's a fucking used Lambo. It's plus 260 on Bet365. I think he's gonna win. His ground and pound is good. I just think he gets overly aggressive with it too. I just don't like sometimes he's going crazy and he might just gas himself out doing that too. So I'm gonna take Smith decision here plus 260. I mean, he's going to win round 1 at a very, very high clip. Probably round 2 at a pretty decent clip. Like you mentioned, the 7.5 mark, 8 mark, 9 mark, whatever, he could actually guess. The thing with him is he's so fucking strong. He could probably still get a takedown or two, and try to lay on top because he's heavy on top too. So go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. All right, Tim. What do you got here?
I'm outside the box on this one a little bit. I just think sometimes we get these lines on these grapplers where they don't have any submissions, and you get a good shot on them to get a submission. Preston's going to be shooting multiple takedowns here unless he gets like an early bonk. Way better wrestler, as you said. I just can see him taking him down. Like you said, Preston trying to get up, gives his back up, takes the back, takes the neck, and then it's just pretty simple BJJ. It doesn't have to be super solid, just has to be way physically stronger and know how to get a body triangle and then just sink in the choke. So I think that this is going to be there multiple times where he'll have chances to get that progression. And I think that a lot of times when we see these lines, the next time we'll see a plus 400 on Smith by sub instead of the plus 900. So I like plus 900 sub Smith.
All right, let's move on. Fight number 6. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 18-8 Thiago Moises versus the 18-6 Trey Ogden. I really don't have any bets on this fight. I'm staying far away from it. I think it's two low volume strikers. They both can grapple. I mean, they're both black belts. I do think probably Moises is the better grappler of the two. But Trey is a weasel to me, man. I hate betting against this guy because he's the ultimate weasel. And I can't click Moises at minus 180. Like this guy, he's very low volume. He's beat the guys who he's supposed to beat. But the minute he steps up, he loses. And I don't know if this is a step up per se. But like Trey Ogden, man, he's beat guys that he's not supposed to beat. So it's like this guy, every time people say, he's screwed here, he can't win this fight, he freaking wins. So I do think Trey Ogden's going to grapple, honestly, because the one thing I do see from Trey Ogden that I don't like is when he's backed up to the cage, he panics a lot. He panics. He doesn't like getting hit. He did that in the Loic fight a lot. Obviously, Loic hits very hard, and he was throwing big. But I do think he's probably going to try to get Moises down. I think he's going to be successful, actually. I don't mind his wrestling. His timing is spectacular on his shots. That's where I think he's really good at. I think he's going to catch Moises probably trying to come in and get him down. I do think Moises can get a sub, though, man. Trey Ogden has not shown that he can't get subbed, right? He's been subbed 3 times in his career, albeit kind of earlier. But, if Nick Brown can get your back and choke you out, I'm pretty sure Thiago Moises can get your back and choke you out. So at 575, that's the price on Moises sub. It's a click for me. I mean, it's a small click. I have to click it. I just don't want much with this fight, to be honest. I don't really know who's going to win. I think maybe it's dog or pass. I can never bet Moises at this price. I just can't. He's too low volume. He really doesn't fight smart sometimes. So, and he's swinging the thing is on his feet, he's always swinging huge shots. He doesn't really put stuff together. He's trying to take your head off with a punch, or he's trying to take your leg off with a kick. So, Moises sub 575. I do think this fight hits the ground. And it's kind of one where I think he's the better grappler. So give me the 575 on Moises sub. Tim?
What book did you get that on?
I think it's on Rivers.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm on the same. I think that there's two props that are really solid here. I agree with most of what you're saying. I think that Ogden is a extremely smart fighter. Knows how to match up really well, knows guys' weaknesses, does his tape study. Just like we lose a lot of money betting on fighters that, assuming that they're going to have a logical game plan and then execute it. And then they just go out and go full blown ego and fucking try to kill somebody, strength versus strength. I don't think you see that with Ogden. I think he avoids a lot of fights a lot of times too. So, and then you got Moises, who I feel like really struggles against guys that are going to just be super aggro and full rabies against him, and he just kind of just quits in certain fights. I don't think that he's going to have that threat in this fight, and I feel like Ogden's path is a split decision at 9-1, and I feel like I already bet Moises by sub, so I might cash out of that and get it the plus 575 because I got plus 500 on FanDuel. So, yeah, I like.
It's on Rivers, by the way.
Yeah, I'll play it on Rivers then. I'll cash out on that. But yeah, I think that those are both good lines. I do think that it's possible that both of these guys could get takedowns against each other, and then I do favor the jiu-jitsu on Moises by a fair amount.
All right. Brandan, the jiu-jitsu guy, he's a black belt. Tell us what you think.
Thiago Moises has really fun jiu-jitsu. It's like a lot more flashy, a lot cooler things that he does. Trey Ogden's like technical grappling is just, honestly, it's phenomenal. I mean, we talked about that a little on our show. He's the one guy we've ever seen get the most juice out of what he actually has to offer, because he's not athletic. He's not a great striker. His wrestling isn't like, top tier. His jiu-jitsu is good, but it's more positional jiu-jitsu and control than it is, flashy subs. My actual pick for this one would be Trey Ogden. I think Trey Ogden's going to win the fight. And I would say Trey Ogden by points at plus 250 is actually probably where I would go. Now, if I'm looking at a bet for the show, I would actually go a little bit differently. I would go with Thiago Moises KO. And the reason for that is exactly like you said. The way he was getting backed up by Loic, and Loic doesn't have great takedown defense. So there was always the threat of that. He could never fully let his hands go. I think when Moises is, when he's ready to rock, he's very aware of when the takedowns are coming. He's good at defending. He's good at sprawling. His hands are clean. He is very technical. And just the way that Trey reacts to punches sometimes is pretty brutal. So one of these times you figure it's going to happen. You added Moises' good leg kicks. Personally, I think that Ogden is going to win by decision. But for that, I like the Thiago Moises plus 900. KO.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him weaseling a decision. If he does, it's probably going to be close. But yeah, I mean, I want nothing to do with this fight, to be honest. Ogden's too much of a weasel for me. I can't bet against him.
You can't call a guy a weasel that just watches tape and performs to the best that he possibly can.
But honestly, okay, from an aspect of overall MMA fighter, he's not really good at any. I mean, yeah, you said his grappling is pretty good, but his striking is not great. He's low volume. It's like he just does exactly what he needs to do to win a fight.
Minus the Jordan Levitt fight.
Who was that guy, the Zellhuber fight? No one in the world thought he could beat Zellhuber. Guess what? He just kicked him and ran and circled and kicked him and circled and kicked him and circled, and he won a decision. It's crazy.
You know what he is? He's a winner. That's the thing. He's a winner.
He's a winner.
He's not tuning in, but he's a winner.
I mean, he watches. Listen, the guy's a tape nerd. He says it. He's a big tape nerd. He watches.
That's my favorite thing about him. He's just good. He reminds me of like a Lambo, but not. He's good at everything.
And he does that for his fighters too, which is, I mean, it's good, man. He obviously game plans well for himself, so probably does it well for his fighters. But
yeah, Garrett Armfield, I love Garrett's game plans for the most part until he gets a little reckless. But yeah, I mean, he's got great gym.
All right. Next one, fight number 7. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 12-1 Marco Tulio versus the 21-7 Ihor Poteria. Is this one mine? Yeah, it's mine. Right? I don't even know who was up last. Was it you, Tim? Oh no, this one's yours, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, I just think this is a kind of a system bet against Ihor. I think that the guy's a little bit more skilled than most people give him. A little bit of, they shit all over him because of his early pre-UFC, the guys he was fighting and things like that. But I just like betting against Ihor when it comes to just later on as the fights go, or if you get anybody that has any grappling ability, I like betting against him and then in late round props. So I like the Tulio sub at plus 600, and then I like the sub 2 at 20-1, sub 3 at 31-1. I just think that this is going to be a situation. I also think it's possible that if Ihor hurts him at all, he's gonna shoot. So I feel like he's got the grappling, he's got the physicality. I think that the money line is kind of stupid because I do think that there are holes in Tulio's game, but I feel like Ihor will tire out, and especially if there's any grappling early in the fight, I think he'll tire out, and then he'll eventually get a sub.
All right. Brandan, what do you got for us here?
That is a really, really good one. I love that one. But just to be a little bit different, I think I'm going to go a different way. Because I can see a lot of ways that this fight plays out. Most realistically is Tulio stays in the pocket and cracks Ihor, and Ihor kind of shies away from the punches like he usually does. But a minus 150 KO line is super unplayable. Ihor is getting a lot better. He's kind of managing range better. He's kind of avoiding shots a lot better. I could see him running away the entire time, and we see who was the guy, Ruffy, that we all thought was going to just smoke the fat guy, and ended up going to a decision. I can see the exact same thing happening here. Maybe even Tulio punches himself out and starts to slow and just kind of cruise for the last 2 rounds. So Marco Tulio points at plus 500, I think could be a good spot if we see a defensive Ihor.
Yeah, I mean, Ihor missed weight. He missed by, I think, 2.5 pounds. He looked a bit soft. Honestly, Tulio, what I did on this fight is I went back and watched like almost all of his regional tape, a lot of his regionals. I'm like, man, this guy is I'm pretty sure he grappled a lot, but from memory. But I'm like, let me go back and look. And sure enough, he did grapple a ton in a lot of his fights, man. But going back to just the last 2 fights ago, this Semeni, whatever, Dos Santos guy, he landed 4 fucking takedowns in round 1 against this dude. And this Semeni Dos Santos is a striker. And, when you look at the Bulgari fight, like he landed 2 takedowns there. He went for takedowns there. Bulgari's just fucking really long-limbed and kind of tough to get down easy, even though he's a kickboxer. He's a Muay Thai guy. And then a bunch of these fights, like Pedro Oliveira fight, a bunch of these fights are going for a lot of takedowns. And honestly, the smart path here is like go. I think Ihor honestly is a 0 on the ground, first of all. Like, I think he sucks on the ground. I think his takedown defense is not great. He tires a lot. It's one of those where I just like Tulio sub here. 2-3 potentially. It's 1,300. He does swing. He swings hard. But I think the smart way to win this fight is just take this dude down, man. Like, and Ihor's Tulio's taken down a lot of people on regional tape, and he goes for him a lot. Mostly body lock trips, stuff like that. And I think he can get Ihor down. I don't think Ihor has great takedown defense. So, yeah, sub 2-3 is 13-1, man. He definitely has the better cardio of the two, in my opinion. So, yeah, give me Tulio 2-3 sub at 13-1. His 2-3 lines are unfucking playable. They're like plus 330 and plus 500. Who the fuck bets?
They're expecting Ihor to just crash out early, like just one shot down.
I don't. That's the thing. I think Ihor's chin is good, man.
It is. It's tough. He gets hit with bombs and he stays in there.
Dude, he got fucking cracked against what's his name, the kickboxer from Australia, Ulberg, and he was still standing. He's
not like one shot out guy. He
has a chin. 4-6. I think he has a chin. He just breaks. His cardio breaks. And if you see the Almeida fight, I think it's important to say that there was like fucking 3 or 4 stoppages in that fight, right? And he was still breaking in round 3, and then he lands a takedown on Almeida. I don't think that can happen here. That's the thing. He cannot break pressure with a takedown here. So, yeah, let's move on here. Fight number 8. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 16-9 Jose Johnson versus the 13-7 Felipe Buenz. This one's yours, Brandan.
Perfect. Fight-ready guy, or at least a former fight-ready guy that Santino has had a lot of work with, right? He used to train him for a long, long time. So it's near and dear to the heart. Let me say this about Santino. First of all, Santino is one of the best black belts I have ever trained with in my life. And you will see world champions in the UFC come to the gym, and he submits every single one of them. Anybody you talk about, name it. So when he says somebody's really good at jiu-jitsu, that's not like something to be taken lightly. And every time we talk about Felipe, he just is like, man, his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. Striking is really good. He's pretty good everywhere. If he has one hole in his game, it's the wrestling, but his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. So when he says that, I listen. I think Jose Johnson's not good. I bet him a lot on the regional scene back in Fury. He's a tall, decent striker. I think the cut down to 125 is super weird. I mean, he's got a big enough frame to be a good size 35er. So shrinking down, I think, is going to cut his cardio. Philippe's never really got tired before like that he did in his last fight. That, I think, was just a huge adrenaline dump. His takedowns are good, especially on a guy that tall where it's really easy just to push him into the cage, wrap around his waist, take him down. I think we're going to have plenty of opportunities for Felipe to get a submission. And a lot of stuff that Jose does is like rolling, up to his knees, just simple mistakes that a high-level black belt is going to take advantage of. So give me Felipe Buenz submission at plus 550.
You can get 650, Brandon. Go to bet 365 because that's my bet.
Nice.
I love Buenz in this spot. Like people and that now I even love him more, telling me that his jiu-jitsu is that good. I mean, here's the thing. Like, why is Jose Johnson minus 200 in this fight?
That made no sense to me. The former LFA champion, like, he's got accolades.
I mean, the other thing for me is like, who has Jose Johnson covered in my? Even N. Hellinger fight was back and forth, bro. Like, it's this guy. This guy's not a minus 200 fighter. He's got the worst takedown defense. He has no fucking hips whatsoever. He's gonna try to play jiu-jitsu off his back, which I think is a very bad idea against Buenz. The other thing is, like, if you go back and look, people are overblowing the cardio thing to me, man. Like, who fights like Joshua Van? Name me a flyweight.
Also, that was the biggest, most clear adrenaline dump I've seen in quite some time.
And watch his ACA fights, dude, against killer Russian wrestlers, right? They're close fights against really, really good fighters and really good grapplers. Like, the line just doesn't. I hit him at plus 180 way earlier for 2 units. I loved him. I couldn't believe the line. I'm like, wait, why is this? I think Buenz should have been the favorite in this fight.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So, yeah, I mean, I hit the sub, man. It's 6.5 to 1 for a guy that has way better jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. He's a 2-stripe black belt under some like really good guy, because I looked up the guy that gave it to him. And like Jose Johnson, what is he? He's long, yes, he's big for the division, but the guy's like trying to get subs off his back against nowhere near the level of grapplers that fucking Buenz is. And I don't think
the tale as old as time. Black guys don't know jiu-jitsu, so that sub is a lock.
Yeah, I mean, dude, plus 650. Give me Buenz. I think he lands a takedown whenever he fucking wants, to be honest. Like, if he just wants a takedown, dude, now that we see Josh Van a little bit more, his takedown defense is phenomenal, Josh Van now. And he got him down twice in round 1. Like Buenz is strong. Like, don't sleep on this guy not being strong.
He's really tall. I think he's like 5'10", because I know he's a few inches taller than me.
He's definitely tall. At the face-offs, people are not going to think he's tall, but he had no shoes on. And obviously Johnson is 6 foot. He's a tall guy. But I do think Buenz is around 5'8", 5'9". He's not a short guy for flyweight.
I think he's 5'9", 5'10". He's probably 2-3 inches taller than me, because we've been together before. I just haven't trained.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen him in person, but he does. He's a big flyweight, no doubt. He's a big flyweight. Tim, are you with us or against us?
I'll squad ride with you guys. I had written down ends by sub at plus 270 because I do think that's a little bit, obviously it's a safer play, being able to get both guys to win by sub. I do think that if it's a sub from Johnson, I feel like it is a gas late, kind of catch him in like a triangle or something like that, because he's got those long ass legs. And I mean, he was close to getting a Sue with that as well. So, I mean, I just feel like that is possible here. But yeah, I mean, Boone subs at plus 650, I just think is a stupid line. So I do agree with you guys that, if you're looking, the question is, can he get him down? But I just think like a stiff wind can get Jose Johnson down. So yeah, I like.
I posted the bet on Twitter, like as a free play, whatever. I posted, hey, go get Buenz. And I wrote a breakdown, and someone responded like, you really think this guy can be Jose Johnson? He just lost to Jussier Formiga by submission. I'm like, how are you comparing these two guys?
Yeah, first of all, Formiga, people don't have any idea how good that guy is. He's fucking incredible.
Dude, the grappling, like, how do you even – these guys are two opposite guys. Like, Buenz cannot out-grapple Formiga. He's not going to try to out-grapple this dude. And it's like, what does that have to do with Jose Johnson? Like, zero, nothing. Anyways, let's move on. It just made me laugh. It's like people just wiki cap and like, look, oh, did you see Formiga sub this guy? So Johnson can sub this guy. Yeah, okay. Let's move on. Fight number 9. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 10-4 Punahele Soriano versus the 10-2 Uros Medic. I will kick this one off. I have a bet on Medic here pretty big. I just, when I watch tape and I watched that Orlabai fight, I'm very impressed, honestly, with Medic's get-up game. His takedown defense was pretty good. Orlabai is just a hard fucking guy to deal with, man. He's nonstop, relentless cage wrestling. 3 rounds of just nonstop cage wrestling, and, you get up, he's going right back down to a takedown. And it's like people all of a sudden in their minds, after Punahele Soriano just ragdolled Baeza for 3 rounds, are like, oh, well, if he ragdolled Baeza, well, he could probably do the same wrestling thing here. And I just don't see it, man. If he gets Medic down, I think Medic gets right back up. And I don't think the takedowns are going to come easy. Then when you look at the fight a little bit better on the feet, he's literally going to light this guy up on the feet. Medic's striking is really fucking good. He's long. He's still long for the division. And it's funny because Puna came down and Medic went up. But if you look at face-offs, he's way bigger than Puna. And it's like, it's just one of these fights where when you look at the Kopylov fight, right? I think it kind of goes the same way. He's going to kick to the body because Medic has great kicks. And his hands are just so fucking clean, man. And Puna's just sloppy with his striking. It's big overhands. It's big, all of his movements are big, explosive movements that I don't think are going to work at Medic. Medic has good technical boxing. He's got good fucking kicks. I just think Soriano's tough. I will say that. He can take a lot of shit and he won't go away. But I still don't trust his cardio, man. I don't think this guy can wrestle for 3 rounds if he's getting stuffed, right? Or if Medic is getting up right away. I think he's going to tire out. So I'm going to go with Medic decision. I kind of feel like he's going to be very careful with his striking, not get overly aggressive, just kind of be clean with it, kicks here and there. And Puna's tough. I do think he's tough. It's plus 360 on his decision prop. I honestly could see him KO Puna as well because I do think he hits hard. But I don't know. I just feel like Puna might survive here. If he gets hurt, he might clinch and stuff like that. So give me the plus 360. It's on Bet Rivers, by the way. I know Tim's going to ask me, but that's where it is. I like Medic here quite a bit. Tim?
I am on the same prop. I like Medic points in Medic round 3. I think that he could cook him a little bit late. If Puna, the round 3 for Medic to me is, I feel like either attritional, just consistently beating the shit out of him for 3 rounds, and then finally they just step in, or the Puna wrestling and trying to get him down, and then he just death gasses. I think both of those are live for round 3, but I do agree that the Puna typically is very durable to the head. Usually guys are hurting him to the body more than to the head. So yeah, I like the points in round 3 for Medic. All
right. Brandan, you got something
good
here?
We're all going to be on the exact same thing.
Really? Damn.
But hey, this is a tough one, man. I'm stuck in between because these are both my guys. Me and Medic, we had a moment. He follows me on Instagram now, and he's interested in the Discord and the gambling, and he's all into it, man. He was asking a million questions. We had a cool moment. He's a cool guy. But I do like Medic. I'm with you. People always think his grappling is so bad. One, he gets kind of the bad rap from being an Alaska FC guy and then moving down, but he's way different than the rest. He is the only guy I respect to the fullest. Takedown defense in the Orlby fight was really impressive. And he's at Kings, he's fighting with good guys, good coaches that know the game plans as a stand-up. And I'm with you, Narco. I don't think that Puna, well, actually, let me change this a little bit because I do have knowledge about Puna. When he was fighting 185, he never ran and he never dieted. like at all. Like he would just eat like fast food, random shit. And that's why he had such bad cardio. So him moving down to 170, actually, I think is going to help his cardio a ton, because for the first time in his entire career, he actually was forced to eat right, start running, which is going to help his gas tank. That's exactly why I see Medic's decision being the play. I think with more cardio for Puna, he's going to be able to survive the shots, do more to kind of save himself in the later rounds as he gets a little more tired. But I think he's a fighter that gets discouraged when things don't go his way really quickly. He'll just kind of sit back into second place, right? The wrestling isn't working. The big overhands aren't working. I think that Earls is going to just pick him apart all night, and then we see that decision cash.
Yeah, I mean, Baeza, bro, like off of this long layoff, he just dumped after one round. He looked like dead tired, Baeza. After
and he was
round.
selling out for leg locks. He wanted to show his off his back jiu-jitsu, which I guess I didn't realize Baeza was stuck in 3 or 4 years ago MMA, not today.
Yeah, dude, the guy was like, I mean, to come back, look like that, and just absolutely get ragdolled and just lay on your back for fucking 13 minutes of the fight was just embarrassing, dude. And he's got like
such a big prospect too.
Baeza has no. I used to love him, dude, before, like, and then he became chinny, right? Everybody like, oh, this guy has no chin. Then he took this long time off, and I'm like, okay, maybe he comes back improved. Dude, he looks worse than ever. It's like, okay, dude, maybe you need to retire or go do something else, because like you're skilled, but you just have so many flaws too. It's like it just doesn't. His striking is good, like his grappling, offensive grappling is good. He just, I don't know, dude. This guy has a lot of flaws. Obviously, takedown defense is terrible. His striking defense is terrible. His chin is not very good. So yeah, he's kind of a guy that I was high on, but he flunked out. All right, next fight number 10. It is in the featherweight division. I think this is the one that like everybody's going crazy about. I don't have much on this fight, but it's the 13-0 Austin Bashy versus the 11-2.
I think you missed. Did we miss the what's his face, the Curtis versus Kopylov fight?
No, that's next. That's after this one.
My bad.
Fight 11. Against the 11-2 Christian Rodriguez. This one's yours, Tim.
Oh man, it's tough to not go with C-Rod. C-Rod's been my dude for a long while. I've pretty much bet him in every fight. I lost the last one. Great guillotine by Arosa. Got caught. Didn't try to defend it early. Got fucked. Didn't realize how good the squeeze was. He usually has been able to get out of those positions, and I think he was a little bit overconfident in that fight. Arosa's got a nasty guillotine though. I'm going to go back to the well. I just think there's, Bashy is clearly a very good wrestler, seems to have insane cardio, be able to, take dudes down over and over and over. I feel like, he's going to need to do that in this fight. I feel like this could be similar to the Bulgarian fight. I think the difference is that Bulgarian does just absolute nasty full rabies mode ground and pound on guys once he gets on top. I don't know that Bashy's going to be doing that much, as much damage as a guy like Bulgarian will. I think that that's going to give C-Rod opportunities to get up. I think he's going to have to keep just taking him down over and over and over. I think C-Rod's a significantly better striker. So yeah, I think C-Rod by decision plus 470 would be the Lambo for me, or the round threes plus 2,200. I don't know the we haven't seen the durability on a guy like Bashy. We haven't seen. What
do you get the decision? How much?
I saw 470 on FanDuel. I don't know if it's better somewhere.
There's much better out there.
Where's it at?
There's 600 out there on 365.
Okay, yeah, I don't have 365, but yeah, I just think that I also think like live after round one for C-Rod's probably going to be something even close to that as well. So I think it's going to be a live bet spot for me. I'm not going to bet him pre, and I just think that see how this dude can he defend takedowns? Can he keep him off him for at any period of time? If he can, I'm going to be betting it live at that point. If he can't, then I'll just stay away.
All right, Brandan, you want to give your take on this, or you don't want to give it? I don't know how you work this.
Yeah, I'm going to sit out on this one. C-Rod's my guy.
Okay.
I'll just say a couple technical things.
Sure.
One, C-Rod is amazing at guillotines and anacondas, especially off the cage when people are trying to wrestle him. he's got an insane anaconda choke. So that is always live, and people really like the C-Rod submission. The only thing is Bashy's only 5'4". He's really tiny. I think he's got no head, no neck, and pretty, obviously a competent grappler. So I think the submission is going to be a little tougher. So I think no matter who wins, one way or the other, I think this one's going to decision. So one number is near even, and then the other one's almost 5 or 6 to 1. So
yeah. I wanted to bet C-Rod but it's like I don't think it's smart. I think it's better to wait on versus grapplers like this. It's better to wait on C-Rod, in my opinion. Like, just see how he defends takedowns, his get-ups, stuff like that. Because honestly, he could get his back taken by Bashy. I will say, I think it's very important to watch the Askar fight in Bashy. Bashy against Askar is very important. He could not fucking get takedowns in that fight. He shot like maybe 6 or 7 of them in round 1 and couldn't get him down all the way until like 10 seconds left. And then he finally got him down. And I just don't think Askar's on the level of Rodriguez when it comes to defending takedowns and the anti-grappling stuff, right? So I think that was a concern. The other concern I had is like in Dana White's Contender Series, yes, he shot a lot of takedowns, but the amount of times his opponent got up against him was not very good, dude. Like, I don't like seeing that when, Bashy's supposed to take your back. He's supposed to do this, do that. The guy kept scrambling back up, and the guy took the fight on like 3 days' notice. Literally.
Oh, I know that guy too. He's not even a serious guy. His name's Dorian Ramos from Tucson here in Arizona, and he actually cornered my last amateur opponent, so I have like a direct link with him. That dude's like a middle of the road. He beat one good prospect in LFA who gassed out after beating his ass. Like, he's not C-Rod's level, not even close.
And that's what I'm saying. And the amount of times he got up when he got taken down is kind of concerning, right? Like, if this guy can get up like that, and his striking, by the way, Dorian Ramos on the feet is just god-awful. He just doesn't know how to fucking strike because he's a grappler himself. He tries to wrestle in a lot of his fights. So it's like now Bashy's facing a guy that has very good anti-grappling. He will threaten with submissions. And then on the feet, he's just a cleaner striker. There's no doubts about it. Bashy's a decent striker. Don't get me wrong. He throws hard, but I think he's not as technical as C-Rod. And what I like about C-Rod is, and this is a very important aspect of his whole game, in my opinion, and why he's so good at anti-grappling, is because he doesn't throw hard. He's trying to touch you. 1, 2, 3. Everything is in combos. He's trying to touch you, and he's cognizant that you might shoot on him. So that's why he doesn't overthrow. I never see the guy overthrowing, honestly, in any of his fights. So it's like last fight, yeah, he got guillotined. He actually hurt what's his name in round 1 pretty bad. And I just don't even understand how he got very lazy, I guess I could say, and he got guillotined. And obviously Orosa, what they say at Extreme Couture is he has like a nasty, nasty guillotine. He gets everybody with it because he's so long, right? And he gets but if you look at some of those fucking submissions, and he was in against Pierce, like he got out of every one of them. Like Rodriguez is not an easy guy to sub. So for me, like, it's probably going to be a close fight if it goes to the scorecards, to be honest. I don't think this guy is dominating. I really don't. And it's 6 to 1 on a decision. It's 11 to 1 on the split on C-Rod. Like, if C-Rod's going to win, I think it's probably split. Like, the difference between like C-Rod and Bashy and these other guys that he's kind of like beating is obviously their cardio is not the same. Like, I do think Bashy's cardio is legit.
Far better, yes.
Yeah, and if you notice, like C-Rod against Bulgarian, right? Bulgarian's like death gas in round 3. Rosas, death gas in round 3, right? And he's winning those rounds very, very easily because these guys are just dead. He's almost finishing them. I don't think that's the case with Bashy. But I think this guy Bashy's honestly, like, by the way, Bashy's Assyrian like me. I didn't even know that. He's Chaldean Assyrian from Detroit. I had no fucking idea this guy's Assyrian. I'm like, what? So I do like him, but man, this is a huge, huge step up for him. Like monster step up. And we've already seen C-Rod, like, he's a killer, prospect killer. And a lot of people like, oh, well, they want Austin Bashy to win and they're setting up. I don't think so. I think they just want a good matchup. And they know C-Rod's going to test prospects to the max. And let's see what we got in Bashy, right? Let's see if this guy's really the goods this early. Because I do think he's kind of like stepping up too big too early, in my opinion. All right. Moving on, fight number 11. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 31-11 Chris Curtis versus 13-3 Roman Kopylov. Tim, I think, no, this one is Brandan's, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Brandan.
All right, let's take a look. So for me, I think I'm going to go with Chris Curtis points on this one. Man, one thing that I didn't like, though, was the size difference. I thought it was an insane size difference. That being said, that's Chris Curtis in every fight. He's always a little undersized because he doesn't like to cut much weight. The one thing I hated with Kopylov, I mean, one, he is a phenomenal striker. The reads that he makes, the southpaw stance, the way he mixes kicks and hands, he is a phenomenal striker. Really, really good. I think, weirdly, this is going to be a tough matchup for him with Chris Curtis pressing him constantly, putting him in boxing range where he's not going to be able to kick as effectively. Like every Chris Curtis fight, though, I think this is going to end up going to decision. Kopylov does have an insane chin. He will fight till the death, even when he's tired. But I think Chris Curtis pushing the pace, the boxing punch, especially the body shots that Chris rips, I think that's going to wear down on Kopylov's cardio. I just don't think that Chris is going to be able to put him out. Kopylov will keep this competitive till the very end. So Chris Curtis points plus 450 is where I'm looking.
All right. I had to go round 2, round 3 on Chris, man, here. Like, there's a couple of things that I don't like for Kopylov in this fight. One is the smaller cage, the apex. I think that's a negative for him. The guy likes to circle. He likes to use the range. He's got great fucking kicks. Very, very good striking. He's got a lot of power, by the way, Kopylov, in his hands, in his kicks. The guy is very dangerous. But if you look at the Almeida fight, last fight, right? Almeida really is kind of a counter kickboxer. He doesn't really push a hard pace. He wants to counter you. And in round 3, dude, like he was about to break Kopylov, and Kopylov lands a takedown. And the round's over, right? Almeida's tired. He can't get up. I don't think he has that here. Like if Curtis is pressing him, I don't think he has the takedowns to bail him out, right? And I'm still very weary on this guy's cardio. I don't think it's great, to be honest. I don't think his cardio is great. I think Curtis' body work is really good. Like he throws to the body a lot. If Curtis is smart, it's a game plan where he's closing the distance a lot. He's not letting this guy kick him from range because that's not going to be good for Curtis. And I think, honestly, Curtis can get him out of there in round 2 and 3, man. Like, if he works the body a lot and he continues the pressure, I think he can get him out of there. And it's 1,400 round 2, 2,200 round 3. I think that's crazy to me. Just because I think this guy Kopylov can break. And I saw it in the Almeida fight, but he landed a takedown. If that takedown doesn't come, I honestly think he's going to break him. He was going to break him. It just looked like he was going to break, and he lands that fucking takedown out of the blue and saves him because Almeida had no get-up game after that. He was completely done on his back. So I like Curtis here, 2-3. I was thinking of betting him, but again, this is a spot where I think you're going to get a much better line after round 1, just because Kopylov is super, super dangerous in round 1 when he's fresh. He's going to land a lot of shots early, and it's a matter of, like, can Curtis walk through them and then kind of break him later in the fight? So give me Curtis round 2, round 3, 2,200 on this fight. Did you go, Tim?
No, I did not.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I kind of like see I kind of see a little bit of both of your paths here. I agree with both of your reads on the fight. The thing for me is I think that it's a round 1 Kopylov, round 3 Curtis are like very high percentage outcomes. I think they're like 70 to 80% for Kopylov to win round 1, and I think it's probably 70 to 80 for Curtis to win round 3. And then you're looking at who's going to win round 2. Both these guys are low volume. I think that Kopylov he's a significantly better kickboxer. He does way different variations of strikes, but I think that Curtis is the better boxer. Problem with Curtis, to me, I just think that if you get in and out, he counters so much that he doesn't necessarily. That's when he can't necessarily get off on his volume. I see Jewish bettors talking about, could Kopylov employ the same strategy as Hermansson? I don't think that he can. Honestly, I think that he's quick maybe in the first round, but as he slows down, I don't think it's going to be as easy. Like Hermansson's a damn good fighter, and that was like a perfectly executed fight. So I like the Curtis by points, Curtis by split, but I also like the KO3. I think that's live as well, but I like the points and split more for Curtis. I do think that it's going to be whoever wins round 2 wins the fight 29-28.
I also think, like, just to talk about that Hermansson fight, Hermansson has way better cardio for one.
Yes.
And the other thing is the takedown threat from Hermansson's a lot bigger than the takedown threat from Kopylov. Like, it just is. So Curtis couldn't really probably open up as much as he wanted against Hermansson because he would shoot on him if he did. So I just don't think that's the same thing with, even though Kopylov like took down Almeida just, his takedown defense is not great. And so it's going to be hard to take Curtis down. I would be shocked if he got him down multiple times. I would. Maybe once, but I think Curtis gets right back up if he does take him down. All right, let's move on. Fight number 12. It is in the middleweight division. It is the 12-6 Abdul Razak Alhassan versus the 6-1 Cesar Almeida. I think this one's mine. I think Alhassan by decision is very sneaky here, man. It's plus 1,000, guys. It's 10-1. And okay, people are going to go back and say, Alhassan has never won. He's 0-4 in decisions, right? But let's put some context on the 0-4. One, he's losing to split by Buckley in a fight where, honestly, you could have gave it to Alhassan. It was a really, really close fight, right? The other one is a loss to Jacob Malkoun, who's just absolutely throwing 100 takedowns against you. And the other one was against Munir Lazaz, another close fight. And so, like, Cesar Almeida's a low-volume guy. I just mentioned that. He's a counter striker. He's a low volume guy. He's not going to shoot any takedowns. If anybody's going to get a takedown here, it's Alhassan. So it's like 10-1 on the and I do think, by the way, both these guys are durable. They're both tough. Almeida has a great chin. That doesn't mean he can't get KO'd. Like, Alhassan hits very fucking hard. So I see 10-1 and I'm like, wow, like, this is a great line. Like, Almeida is not a guy that is going to push a crazy pace. He's not going to throw a lot of volume, and he's not going to grapple. So why is Alhassan 10-1? Like, it's an easy click for me. Outside of that, like, obviously, technically speaking, Almeida's the better technical striker. We know that, but I kind of feel like Alhassan has more power in this fight, and I think the clinch is interesting because Alhassan's pretty good in the clinch as well. So, I mean, Almeida's obviously a kickboxer. He probably has a good clinch. I do think Alhassan has a nasty clinch as well. So that part of the game is going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen there, but Alhassan could land a takedown or two. He really can. And if he landed them against Buckley, why can't he land them here against Almeida? The problem is he might gas himself out. I don't think he has the best cardio, and the guy's probably fighting in a weight class he shouldn't be in. Like, we know he missed a ton weight multiple times at 170. Now he's at 85. I don't know how good that is for him, but yeah, I don't see Almeida like being some big superstar. Honestly, he's very mid to me, and just decision 10-1 is crazy to me. Tim?
10-1 Abdul decision is crazy to me. Split plus 2,200. He got Buckley down in round 3. I mean, like, I just think that his cardio has gotten better since he moved to train he's training elevation lately, and I just feel like it's to me it's just as simple as I was saying the same thing earlier. Like, the assumption of rational decision making and rational coaching, and can you go out and do the simplest game plan ever? If you're just watching that Kopylov tape and you're saying, dude, Kopylov looked like fucking Khabib against this dude. Like, he just easily taking him down, easily holding him down. I just think that there's just obviously a glaring weakness on Almeida. Also, I think that Almeida is not like, he's a better technical striker, but he also gets hit. So I don't think that it's not like he's, defensively super, super responsible. So I think it could be a situation where you see like, a little bit more volume, 1.5 to maybe even 2 to 1 on volume, but just like significantly bigger shots are coming from Abdul. And so, yeah, Abdul points, Abdul split. Go for takedowns.
Brandan, what do you got for us here?
Yeah, we're all three in the same boat on that one. I like the same thing, Abdul points. I wrote that down a little bit earlier. Honestly, though, I think it's going to come down to how things look in the first round. One thing I will give Abdul credit for, you go back and you watch his Sabah Humasi fights, like that dude's just chaos and brings it every time. That fight's ending within 5 minutes, hell or high water. Now he's like much more calculated since he's moved to elevation, right? That has helped with his cardio. Honestly, just him being more calm and just like kind of becoming a veteran in himself, learning how to fight for 15 minutes instead of 3 minutes as a sprint. So I really think that play is a great play, depending on how he comes out. I think when he came out trying to kill Brundage, it's because he knew Brundage is nowhere on his level, right? He's just going to take his head off. I think he has to respect Caesar. And I think because he respects Caesar, that's where we're going to see the takedowns. I think he's just going to dirty box him, clinch him, just like you said, Narco. I like that play decision. And the other thing about Caesar is that he doesn't get hit big anytime because he's so calm. That's one thing. He's been with us at Fight Ready for a long time. He's calm on the ground. He's calm standing. He's just always calm. So I like that Abdul decision.
Yeah. Did you know, Brandan, he left elevation for whatever reason. He's at like the worst gym ever. I don't even know what it's called. War Room. It's in like Fort Worth, Texas. It's like,
oh, okay. I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's his own gym. It seems like he owns it, but I can't really tell like from his Instagram. It seems like he's the owner of the gym. I don't know, honestly, but it's in Fort Worth. It's a weird gym.
That's not good.
Yeah, he's no longer, he's not, that's the one thing that I noted on my notes. I'm like, man, what fucking gym is this guy at? And it's like, it's not a great gym. I mean, he went from Fortis to elevation to whatever, this War Room. Have you ever heard of that gym? War Room MMA? That's what it's called.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's in Fort Worth. It's a really, really weird gym.
I don't know for our decision, Rouse.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna bet it at 10 to 1. I just don't think Almeida is one of those guys that's high volume. He can get taken down.
And he's what, 36, 37 years old?
Yeah, they're both old. Yeah, everybody's talking about Alhassan 39. Yeah, but this guy's also fucking 36, 37. Like he's not young.
He's African, and that means he's 32.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Co-main event of the night. We have 407 live viewers. Appreciate you guys. It is in a welterweight division. It is the 29-8 Santiago Ponzinibbio versus the 19-6 Carlston Harris. This one's yours, Tim.
I was thinking that this is probably one of the 1-800 gambler fights where I'm probably not going to have very much money on this fight. I might bet it live, but I just keep thinking that there's like 42 to 78 different variations of how this fight can go. Pons hasn't been fighting any grapplers. Early in his career he did, but lately he's not been fighting really, any grapplers. He seems to have slowed down just by 50%, like just footwork and just speed in general, hand speed. He also seems to have backed away from going full rabies in fights and trying to get dudes out of there. He's fighting just way more conservatively and cautiously. Think that Salikov fight was a clear indication of that as well. We both hit, I think, Salikov points and split in that fight, which was nice. I do think he won that Salikov fight, but I just think that I didn't care because I won a bet. But I think that he was just way more timid. So I think that this fight is, it could go a bunch of different ways. I'm going to take ends by split, 2 old guys. I do think that this, like I said, this could go a million different ways, but close fight, volume for both. I think the speed advantage at this point will be Harris. I think probably the better technical boxing and striking will come from Pons. But yeah, I like end split. I also think that the Harris by Darce at plus 3,000 is good too. He has 2 of them. It's not like Pons is going to shoot, but I do think that if there is a body lock takedown or a trip that does work out, that maybe he could catch him in that move. He's got a really solid Anaconda and Darce series. So the Anaconda was like 6 to 1 and the Darce was like 30 to 1. So I think that's the way to go if you ask me.
All right, Brandan, what do you got for us?
This is a funny one because I feel like this will be a really good play, and my ass is going to be clenched the entire time that I'm watching this. I like Ponzinibbio by points. It's weird. He's kind of cruising to wins now. I think he's at the stage in his career where he's trying not to get hurt. He's trying not to get knocked out, not to take too many risks. I don't know if it's him slowing down or his just injuries are just like piled up and he's not trying to push it anymore. Carlston is very dangerous, but he makes his fair share of mistakes. And I think Ponzi is a big hitter. I know he doesn't have a million knockouts, but I've seen the guy. I've been around him. His fists are like this big. But I don't think he's going to go for the kill. I think he's going to avoid the danger zone of Carlston. I think Carlston will play off his guard if he does get hurt. And that will just make the danger zone, give him time to recover. I like a vet lesson here from Ponzinibbio. One thing about those guys down in Florida, I don't worry about them defending grappling. They're just kind of ultra vets all the way around. So as long as they're not getting knocked out, I think that we can trust them to take a decision victory home here.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on this. Like the line moved a lot in Santiago Ponzinibbio's favor. And I see it like if you look at technically speaking, like he's miles better than Harris. Harris is just a madman, wild. His punches are not fucking clean. They're like fucking weird. He kind of throws like hammer.
He whips those things.
And he whips them. Like that's the thing. He's long as shit. By the way, they have him at 6 foot. There's zero chance this guy is 6 foot. Like zero. Solid. He's probably 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. And he's got long limbs. He's like dangerous everywhere, in my opinion. Like even on the feet, he's dangerous. He can crack. He's got dangerous jiu-jitsu as well. Like we saw him. Like how the hell? Like you're a jiu-jitsu guy, right, Brandan? How the fuck did he sub Wells with that? Like he didn't even catch his leg.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, he is very good. He knows what he's good at.
He has squeezes.
Dude, it's like Wells is a good grappler. Like he's a black belt. Like, he's good. And he didn't even trap the leg, and he was tired in round 3. He still like put him to sleep with the anaconda, like literally put him to sleep. And I was like, okay, this sub. Even the announcers are like, oh, he can't get this. Like he's not going to get the sub. And next thing you know, he's sleeping. I'm like, what the hell happened? But you know what? I kind of feel like Ponzinibbio is getting hurt in a lot of these fights, and I do think Harris KOs live. I do think like Harris. Just because he's so fucking wild, he can land one of these big shots. It's 5.5 to 1. It's 550. I don't mind it. I don't think the sub is as live as people think. Like maybe Pon sticks himself into a guillotine. Maybe anaconda or Darce, but I think it's more so KO over sub in my opinion for Harris. The thing is, I don't see him winning a decision very often, just because his striking is not very good. I don't think he had like top times here for a long time. It's just like you mentioned, like Ponzinibbio is just a vet, man. He can defend takedowns. He knows what to do. He's the better technical striker. I just think it's kind of like the wash version of Ponzinibbio. It's not the old Ponzinibbio that was really good. I mean, he got really sick. He almost died or whatever, this guy. So, he's getting hurt in a lot of these fights. I mean, Alex Morono hurt him. Kevin Holland obviously killed him. Salikov hurt him in that fight. He's getting hurt a lot lately. And I just feel like a guy like Harris that's long, that's very, very awkward. You can't really even train for a guy like this. Like he's a very awkward fighter that's long. And I just think 550 is an okay line. I don't think it's great, but it's where I'm leaning here in this fight. All right, guys. Last fight of the night, 14 fights. Do me a favor, hit the like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Also, go subscribe to Brandan's YouTube channel. I will give him a little bit of a thing at the end of the show where he can put his YouTube channel and all that other stuff. But hit the like, subscribe, and if you want to get into my Discord, link is down below. With that being said, main event of the night. And it is in the strawweight division. It is the 14-5 Mackenzie Dern versus the 13-5 Amanda Ribas. And we will let Brandan have this. He has some, I guess, maybe inside stuff. Not inside stuff, but he knows one of these fighters pretty well. So, Brandan, go ahead.
Yeah, I wish I still did. I lost that connect about 6-7 months ago. I used to date one of Mackenzie's best friends, so I had a lot of inside knowledge about like her personal life and all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, training situations. You fast forward 8 months later. I don't know much of anything anymore. Nothing personal, nothing. I don't know. I know just in general, the training situation is really fractured just in California, and people have to keep that in mind as a whole. There's not really places where you go do everything. Like we're doing MMA practice today. It's like boxing one morning, then straight jiu-jitsu the next, and wrestling. And Mackenzie, if you can't tell, that is like she is like the definition of that. She just does one thing at a time. She has a lot of trouble kind of blending everything together. But she is tough as shit. She will fight for your money. She can take a shot. She always been able to take a shot. And, she swings really hard, and she kind of never gets tired of swinging so many punches. Amanda, has shown to be pretty chinny in the past. If girls that are like pencil arm, like Marina Rodriguez, can rock her and knock her out, I don't see a reason that Mackenzie can, even a positional TKO. Amanda is good. She's a good grappler. I think her striking is really bad. It's all over the place. She's chinny. I like Mackenzie, and I think I would look at a Mackenzie knockout at plus 1,000. That's a really, really insane number for something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking differently than a lot of people. Like, I feel like here's the thing. Like, everybody's comparing the first fight, and my breakdown for this fight is kind of similar to what I said in the Gane fight versus Volkov. Everybody said, "Oh, go watch the first fight of Gane Volkov," and there's no way Gane can lose to this guy, right? But like, there was a lot of different things. It was a 5-round fight compared to a 3-round fight. It's in a bigger cage now as compared to an Apex. Like, there was different things. And I think the same thing is similar here. Like, the first fight is a 3-round fight in a bigger cage, right? Both of those things, in my opinion, favored Ribas. I think the 3-round favored Ribas, and the bigger cage favored Ribas. Now we are in a smaller cage, and we're in a 5-round fight. And I'm not saying Ribas' cardio is bad. The reasoning why I like 5 rounds is it just gives Mackenzie more opportunity to get takedowns. It gives her more time to get on top or do things like that, right? Instead of a 3-round fight. The other thing is, like, that Mackenzie is not the same as this Mackenzie. That's definitely true. I don't know how much better Ribas is from back then to now. Maybe
she looks very much the same to me. Just the same old, yeah.
So now when you put all that together, and it's like when Mackenzie was like minus 170, 180, the line didn't make sense to me. Like, I think maybe you can give Ribas minus 120, maybe pick him. Like, this is a close fight. If you look at the context of the 5-round fight, the smaller cage, there's things that work in Mackenzie's favor here. And when you mentioned KO, look at how Ribas is at 115 compared to 125. Her chin is not the same, man. It's just not. She's getting knocked out. All of her knockout losses, I think, are at 115, right? And in the fights that she's getting hurt, they're 115. She does not look good, or she's not taking punches well at 115 for whatever reason. Maybe it's a big weight cut. Maybe it's the hydration process is not great for her. And one thing you mentioned is Mackenzie swings fucking hard, man. She throws hard. For a jiu-jitsu girl, she tries to take your head off. She's biting down, and she wants to kill you.
I think jiu-jitsu is weirdly becoming the worst part of her game these days.
And listen, if she can hurt Jessica Andrade, why the fuck can she not hurt or knock out Ribas? Like, why? Like, Andrade, to me, is way tougher and has a better chin than Ribas at 115. So, I think it comes later, Brandan. I think it comes 3, 4, 5 KO, and it could be positional KO. It could be, Ribas. Both these girls cut a lot, by the way. They bleed a lot. I kind of feel like 2,500, 25-1 on KO 3, 4, 5 for Mackenzie Dern. Give me all of that. I honestly think she could possibly break her later in this fight. Just being on top. I mean, she's nasty. Even with her ground and pound, Mackenzie's nasty, man. She is. So, yeah, I like Mackenzie here, 3, 4, 5 plus 2,500. Tim, what do you got?
I'm going to have the lotion ready for this fight. This is the Jurgens lotion fight of the night, so we got to make sure that we're ready and prepared. I'm on the other side. I mean, I think that this is a Ribas decision. I think that she is the way cleaner striker. I think that both of these girls have just horrible durability. Obviously, I think that Dern has survived in a few fights where they could have easily stopped it. They could have stopped the Lemos fight. They did stop the Andrade fight. She gets rocked in every fight. She has zero defense. She's been knocked down, I think, like 6 times. I do think that the Ribas obviously has her issues as well, getting knocked out and getting hurt in fights. But I think that these guys both can have comparable levels of issues or comparable level issues with their durability. I think that the striking defense is better for Ribas than for Dern, and I think that the striking in general is better. I also feel like if the wrestling and judo is better for Ribas. So if somebody's going to get takedowns more easily than you have, I think that's Ribas. I think she showed as well in the first fight that she can stay safe if she needs to. And she's got very good jiu-jitsu as well. So I just think that this is again, a good matchup for her. I do agree with you that the smaller cage and the longer fight gives Dern more opportunities for her moments, but I think that she needs those moments. So I feel like, to me, I just feel like these 5-round fights, there's always one judge that is taking mushrooms before the fights, and they're just starting to kick in right at this moment at the main event. So the ends by split, low number, plus 300. If you want Dern by split, it's like 12-1. I think it's like just a classic 5-round. Again, one judge isn't watching the same fight as the other two.
All right. Beautiful. All 14 fights. If you don't have a Lambo parlay, Brandan, it's fine. Usually Lambo parlay is like we kind of look for a big, huge long shot of parlaying a couple of props together. If you don't have it, it's fine. We'll give you time. Let's do ours first, and then we'll go to you if you want, if you have one.
Okay.
Cool? Okay, Tim. What do you have for your Lambo parlay, Tim?
I took a shot on 2 of them. I thought that Ribas points, Medic points, Tiago sub 49-1. I like. And then I did a 2-3 round robin with Klein and Tulio. I think that those are both good. I think that it's possible for both of them to get late finishes. So I like both of those as well.
All right. For me, I'm just going, you can mix and match Curtis 2-3 with Klein 2-3. I just feel like both those are super, super live to get finishes later in those fights. Just because of the pace, I think both of those fighters have good cardio, they have good pace, and I think their opponents are breakable later in fights. So if you mix and match 2-3, like you get anywhere from like 250, 280 to like whatever, 75-1. So it's really good odds. I put another one together if you want to get really crazy. I put Lopez sub 2-3 with Tulio sub 2-3. It's 265-1. So I don't know. I just feel like both those guys can probably find the sub, and it's later. Why not? 265-1. Brandan, what do you got for us, my man?
Let's go all out. Let's go crazy. This is what made me the most money, is doing crazy parlays like this. All right, we're going to do Felipe Buenz by submission. We're going to do Fatima by submission, and then Earls by decision, all parlayed together. That's plus 12,477.
Nice.
I love it. This guy comes on the show and he just throws out 145-1. No problem. Let's get it. I love it. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining. 455 live viewers. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to our special guest, Brandan, for joining us, taking the time. I know we took a long time here, hour and 33 minutes. I apologize for that, but the floor is yours, my friend. You can let them know where they can find you, your YouTube channel, stuff like that. And I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's been awesome. It's been a long time, and we're local. You, me, Clint, we're all Arizona guys. So like I said, this year we're going to have more guests on our show. And then, yeah, we'll have to hit a UFC, something together, a boxing fight. I don't know. I'm surprised you run this show on Fridays. Like LFA's on one screen, I got one on the other screen. Everything's going on. But you can catch me. We run a podcast, Santino DeFranco. He's the head coach of Fight Ready. I'm a fighter at Fight Ready. So we run a podcast. If you look up Santino DeFranco on YouTube, then we have a Patreon, MMA breakdowns and bets, all the good stuff. That's it. And then just my Instagram, Brandan Olivas with an A-N, B-R-N-D-A-N. That's all we got.
Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, we do it mainly Fridays because of the props. You know how some books are so slow on props. And the show is based off props, so we have to do it kind of on Friday. It sucks. Yeah, there's LFA. I had a big bet on one. I had like 4 units on a guy on one. And
Did
I'm
he
like,
win? There hasn't fought yet.
Yeah, he won easily, like 2 minutes in.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So, but thank you again for coming on. Maybe I can make it to your show one of these days. I would love to. Why not? But we'll definitely bring you back here. It was a great time. You did an awesome job. I love the breakdowns. So thank you, everybody. Tim, you got anything for the people?
Love you
One
guys.
last thing. Let's cash those tickets for UFC Vegas 101. Peace.